Hello again. Let's get our Tuesday drawing female poses session. Okay. Well, as the title says, will be a female drawing. Again, a quick pose. I'll start and try and finish this quick as I can. This one is sitting on her knees. It's pretty much kind of well, let's have a look at it and then talk straight onto the figure drawing itself. So what I'm trying to do here will be well, let's start with the head. We have the body, so the axis will be kind of that way, the axis. So you have the spine. The axis is normally associated with the spine this way. Squarish upper body, rectangular lower body, and rectangular that shape on that size. Okay, well, let's see. Let's start that with charcoal. Let's go again. We have, as I said, square head, or squarish head. It's not a square head, squarish head. The upper body. I'm making it a lot more triangular shape than what it is actually. And then we have the rectangular shape of the lower body and knee cup and the thigh. But here it's actually not, I mean, a kind of horizontal line will be the shadow of the thigh and the shin. Here is the thigh itself, a bit more rounded, not as much, but there. Then the shin, heel, and the foot itself. Then we have the other thigh, parallel, knee cup. I'm committing quite quickly with shadows here because I can see that I can play around with shadows because it's a darker thigh, this one, so kind of a straightaway shadowing. And we have the arm, hand, lower arm, breasts here, knee, elbow, knee cup, it's elbow. Okay, then we have the shoulder here and the upper arm and the elbow here again. There's a shadow of the elbow on the upper body. Then we have the breast here, the other shoulder. I think I've gone a bit too far out with this shoulder. I can bring it a little bit more onto the left because I've made it quite wide. Then you have the neck. That shoulder drops a little bit more. Upper arm, breast, portrait, nose, eyes, upper lip, lower lip, chin, hair, ear, and a little bit of a shadow on the hair and the bun here. And I can actually increase a little bit the upper skull because I think I've made it quite small, so I'm increasing a little bit more. But then you have the lines of the hair moving that way. We have the ear a little bit lighter. And the hand itself. There we are. Oh my God, that hand is like huge. Well, it is big actually on the original drawing, but not as big as what I've managed to do here. So a little bit smaller, narrower, because otherwise it will be too wide for the face. And a beautiful dark shadow at the top, which comes and becomes a lot lighter down here. That's for the upper arm and the shoulder. Then the upper arm, it's a little bit wider here, and that is also a little bit darker. A darker shadow which becomes lighter as it moves to the left. Okay, kind of a squarish nude, but she's actually quite, it's the pose more than the girl. It's the pose which is quite blockish, let's put it this way. And a general darker shadow. And a darker shadow on that side. There you have it. And possibly a little bit narrower at the top. Yeah, narrower, definitely narrower. Here we have a general darker tone. There. And I'll create a little bit more shadow here, charcoal dust, and that will be used to create more shadow. So we have upper arm, lower arm here, but actually the anchor point is here. It's not, it's where the shadow of anchor point is the point where you can, where's the epicenter of all this area. It's that dark line here, dark line, and the rest is quite softy, 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 all the rest here. So that dark line, I'll bring it now, well, later on, slightly later on, with putty rubber. Again, darker tone. A little bit more of a darker tone here. Okay, on the hair. Move it downwards. Have that trend downwards of the hair. A little bit of a darker tone on that side of the face. Soft on the features, because I've gone a little bit too dark with the features. I mean, nose, eyes. And the darker, general darker tone here. Crotch area. And as I said at the beginning, this is quite dark. The whole right thigh. There. And that middle dark tone continues here. There. On the thigh itself. So the thigh is quite dark. Right. Especially here. and then it becomes lighter as it moves down. Okay, here we are. And that, well, with the bum hands, we have a straight line as we're moving up, there. And that connects with the rest of the foot. And you have the shin here, softer lines. And I think I need to change the portrait a little bit because it's quite harsh at the moment. Okay, let's go back and do some correction here on the face. First of all, the nose is quite large and extended, and so I'm trying to create a distinction between the eyebrow and the nose, a little bit less pointy, philtrum, upper and lower lip, and also a little bit smaller chin, eye, eyebrow. This is mono zero rubber. You'll find it on internet, easy to be delivered, or Cassart or any other good shop, art shop. I'm restricting the upper shoulder. Also, this is where I went wrong. So let's restrict that as well. And where we said is the anchor, it's that the bicep here and the lighter tonal value of the chest. And this is the anchor, that point here. That's the anchor of all these areas. So is that light and dark tone. So light here and the dark tonal value there. Now we have upper arm, lighter. This is the elbow area. So I'll leave that as is, a little bit softer because we don't see the bone structure as I had done it. That's a little bit softer here as well. I can raise a little bit the upper shoulder here. So here I can come back and raise that a little bit more. Here. And come back and do that outline. I'm overemphasizing this area. It doesn't have to be as dark as that, but it's for me to create a more accurate line of upper shoulder, the shoulder, upper arm, lower arm. And the anchor on that area is that dark line here, which separates her right thigh from her left thigh there. Maybe the breast a little bit further up. Or I can just about restrict it. There. The elbow, I think the elbow exceeds more, or it's coming closest to us on the right. So it's closer to us, closer to the camera, because you have the breast under the arm and the arm pops up a little bit there. This is the anchor point, as I've said earlier on, those dark shadows. There we are. Again, I've raised the nose a little bit higher than I wanted to, so I can just about lower a little bit the nose. The eye gaze, she's looking away. Bring the chin a little bit further up. And a general dark tone, and I don't see any fingers here. First of all, they're not that important because they are under the shadow, but also you create a trend here. You create a personalized drawing, or you personalize the drawing, not personalized drawing, but you personalize the drawing here. That means that obviously you are choosing what to keep and what to delete or not take into consideration more than delete. The fingers are there, but they are in the shadow, so we don't see them, but you can just about make them visible. And then the pinky, also the small finger, is there, but it's not as bright. I've changed the position of the fingers because they are actually on the ear, and I got it wrong, but actually it doesn't really matter, in the sense that she could be lowering her hand, so it doesn't matter if they're up or down. Here we have something we cannot dismiss, which is basically the upper arm and lower arm, where they hear that area, and this is where it gets a little bit wider, and I can keep that line dark as up to that point, and then this is the thumb, moving that way, index finger here, index finger, ring finger here. Again, all those fingers, they can be blended onto that general shadow here. And get that thigh a little bit more rounded, and then moving it that way here, there. And I can emphasize this dark tonal value where the kneecap is, and then softer up there. Also a little bit darker tonal value as the thigh moves up. I will put a little bit more light here, put the projector on. Put some more light here. What happened? It's not working? No, it's working, yes. So a little bit lighter tonal value there. Okay, so I keep the fingers a little bit where under a shadow. We can, again, I can give them the direction where the fingers are, but they don't have to be any lighter. Just blend with the shadows here. darker tone. So what I can do, I can darken the tonal value of the base where she's sitting, tablecloth, cloth, whatever she's sitting on, standing on, it's just actually, it's a table. Okay, now I'll mute myself and work a little bit more on the shadows, but I don't have to talk. You will see the process. I think I need to make that elbow a little bit smaller as well. As I said earlier on, the elbow comes towards us. Here. And all that area is under a general dark shadow. Okay, I'll mute myself. Now, I've used a little bit of chalk. You probably noticed I've used white chalk because I've had that new paper, 200 grams of Fabriano. It's a very thick paper. 200 grams is quite a lot, thick, heavy paper, and it's terrible for quick drawing. So I'm using chalk because I could not delete or get rid of the darks with putty rubber, so it's impossible because it creates that effect here, a very muddy effect, or the paper looks like it's not holding the darks. Well, I mean, I didn't know it would be such a bad paper, but I should have known because I've got enough experience. But I was thinking it's a brand new production, thick, and I was thinking that might actually do, and I'll try it. And I bought it, and I was thinking light white paper with dark charcoal will create a very beautiful darks and contrasts. But actually it came up to be the opposite. The darks are muddy, so do not buy 200 grams paper, any brand, because it's just too thick. It's not good for drawing in general. Might be very good for portraits or average. Don't know why they produce such a thick paper. Maybe for mixed media. This is the answer, mixed media. But obviously I'm doing charcoal. But in that case, I'm creating a mixed media in the sense that I'm using white chalk, which is chalk that you can buy it in W.H. Smith or any art shop. So it's basically white chalk. And instead of deleting it, which is not letting me, using the white chalk. So this is the reason why I've used white chalk. But anyway, I mean, the drawing, the proportions are there. The volume is pretty much working. Here are the darkest parts that I'm doing here. So the white chalk was actually a little bit of a disappointment. Sorry, the white paper, the 200 grams of white paper. The white chalk is not a disappointment, it helps. Here's the belly button. It helps to get rid of the very dark areas. So I'll mind it for next time not to work on such a thick paper. All right, see you on the next drawing. Bye-bye.